Meeting will come to order.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to, normally we'll have public comment right away, but special meetings, so special circumstances. So I'd like to ask for the floor for a few minutes.
Go ahead.
We're sitting here today, and I'm speaking as County Commissioner, District 2. I'm not speaking for these guys. I'm speaking for myself. We're sitting here today because I feel I got complacent. I got tunnel vision. I didn't do my job. I didn't follow my gut. And that's on me. I'm 1/3 of this operation. I own it. Now, if it was going to do any good to run away and resign and, you know, make excuses, that's not how you fix problems. You fix problems, you stand there, you take your lumps, and you fix it. You do the best you can. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the best I can. And I'm hoping that everybody at this table will follow suit. A lot of sleepless nights, a lot of thinking about this, a lot of coulda, woulda, shouldas. It's not going to fix it. Can't reverse time. Got to move forward. I feel the first important step is that we ensure the integrity of the entire county financial system. For that reason, I reached out to the KAC. I got a list of reputable firms, and I'm sure there's many others, not connected with Northwest Kansas. They're out of the area, non-biased. So what I want to do to start this off is put a motion on the floor that will allow us to seek out such a firm, get references, get quotes, get scope of work of what they're capable of doing in the form of not only audit, but accounting. And I'd like to ask for a full forensic audit of the entire Sherman County financial system to verify its integrity in full, from top to bottom. I feel that that's the responsible thing to do in light of all that's happened. There's a lot of mistrust now, rightfully so. There's a lot of speculation. The only way to put that to bed is to get this audit done and at least secure that portion of this issue. So I've got a motion on the floor.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded that we contact the KAC and get references and a reputable auditor and accountant firm to do a full financial audit of our books. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. That motion is passed.
Thank you. There's step one. After a lot more thought, you know, one damn phone call for many of us at this table, and I'm talking about me too, could have avoided this whole issue. The Department of Recovery, the Recovery Office, who administered the funds, the federal funds, would have been able to give us an answer with one phone call on whether we're on the up and up with this, is can we do this or can we not do it? What are our options? Before it ever happened. There's some more of that hindsight stuff. But it didn't happen. I didn't make that phone call. I've made it 100 times in my head since then. But I didn't make it when I needed to make it. So here we are. Here we sit. We and all the other counties were counting on those federal funds through the Sparks funds to help pay for administrative fees, right? That's out the window now. because those guidelines weren't met. We paid it through payroll, obviously to be transparent, but obviously that didn't meet federal guidelines. So all the money had to be returned, $56,560 some bucks and change. So now those funds are not there to cover those administrative charges. So now it becomes a county taxpayer problem. Well, it's not a county taxpayer problem, it's our problem. And I have sat and I've gone over every scenario I can think of in my simple mind. And there's only one way to get this resolved. Those funds have to be returned. There's no other way around this. I've tried to cut it every slice of pie you can think of, every size, every shape. I can't see any other way to do it. We have no right to put this on the backs of the taxpayers because of inadequacy, opening that door, and now here we are. That's my opinion. These guys can voice their opinion in a minute, but that's what I see. I hate to say it, but that's what I see. This is where we're at. Those funds have to be returned. And that's all I got to say about it at this time. There's other things going on. Our attorney is getting opinions from other attorneys. He's going to get an opinion from the AG's office. Things are working. But this is the first start. We've got to get this audit rolling to put that to bed, to ensure the integrity of the county funds, because I know a lot of people are thinking about that. So the only way to solve that is get it audited. So, and that's in the works now. So we'll start finding a company and get on it. That's about all I've got to say thus far. For what I know and where we're at, I felt it was important to at least make that step. So I'll open the floor up to anybody else who wants to visit.
Go ahead, Larry.
Okay, so I need the floor for just a few minutes. So one thing that I don't feel is fair is basically the articles and everybody is basically pointing everything as guilty for Ashley and Maria. We are just as responsible sitting right here today. And one thing the taxpayers need to realize is since Ashley took this office over 5 years ago, Mary Ann resigned. And, well, not resigned, she retired. Okay, when she retired, we asked Ashley who she was going to get for replacement, if she was going to do anything. She said, I think Maria and I are capable of running this office with 2 people. That's the first time ever this office has been run with 2 people. Well, if you take $14 an hour plus the benefit package, that would cost the taxpayers every year for the last 5 years over $60,000 extra out of the taxpayer's pocket for another person to be sitting in here. So they've been pretty dang efficient in what they've done over here. And had we had that other person sitting there, they wouldn't have had the hours they turned in for this here. And I know it's an absorbent wage, but what we looked at when the lady from McCook came in wanting $150 an hour, I couldn't understand why we would pay that kind of money. And it was explained that because when you do that kind of work, you're taking on a lot of responsibility that hopefully keeps the county out of a lot of trouble. So that's why we hired her and contracted with her for $150 an hour. She didn't feel that. She subbed out to a lady in Russell, Kansas, which didn't know anything about until the paperwork started coming back here incorrectly with Ashley's name on it. And that's when Ashley approached the commission and said, if this is going to have my name on it, I think I can do the work. We didn't contract with her. We didn't ask what's it going to cost. We didn't do any of that. We just said, everything you've done for us so far has looked good. So we said, do it. And I'll give you an example of that. For several years, as a commissioner, I went to Northwest Kansas Planning and Development in Hill City, and we asked for grants. They charged us about $250 to write a grant. They charged us $10,000 a year to be a member of that, and we never got nothing. I asked for an ambulance. I actually looked at it and said, I think we could write this better. Try it. 30 days later, she had us a new ambulance for the county taxpayers. A year and a half later, we talked about it. We needed an ambulance with a, was it a ventilator, Steve?
A ventilation system.
Because no other ambulance in this country have that. She wrote us a grant and we got another ambulance. Then she wrote us a grant and she got us a lot of money, is over $100,000 for fire equipment for our firefighters. So she's done a lot of stuff for the county. Whether we did this right or wrong, it's not all on her shoulders. She's done a lot of good for this county, and even today, she's running those 2 people. Like I say, you add that 3rd person in there, 60,000 plus a year right now, the taxpayers would be on the hook for. And if we'd had that 3rd person sitting there, she wouldn't have this kind of overtime. But we asked her to do it. We okayed the payment. We made a mistake. We should have had a contract, and we should have looked at things closer, but we didn't do it. We dropped the ball. So, Steve, that's about all I got to say about it.
Okay.
And I made a statement to the reporters that if we make a mistake, we're not above fixing it. And so that's why we reached out to the state recovery team. And when they said this is a problem, you're going to pay it back, we said, fine, we'll figure it out, we'll get it paid back. So, Steve.
Well, I came back on the commission after 4 years of being gone, and when this was brought to my attention, I approached Ashley and she said, yes, this is fees that were charged, and it was an agreement with the commissioners that I do this. So, have we made mistakes? Yes. Can we rectify them? I hope so. I don't know. It's gonna get ugly, it's gonna get tough. But if, you know, we're not above admitting to our mistakes and trying to rectify them, we're better off than trying to push it under the rug, which has never happened yet. Everything's been up front, went through payroll. No questions were ever raised that, is this illegal? And to my knowledge, it's not. And so we're going to continue on. We're going to try rectifying what we have and go from there. So.
Doesn't change the fact that we're still talking about taxpayer money here. How do we fix it?
Well, first thing, we got to get the state paid back.
State's paid back.
The state is paid back already.
And we made the motion to pay the recovery. And
State is paid back, they have the check. Did you ever get yeah, we got ACH verification, right?
What I sent to them, what Katrina did, yes.
Okay.
I did not know we'd already sent the check.
I CC'd you on the email.
That was
Yeah.
the first and foremost, most important thing. Get the state paid back. That was our error. They told us how to do it, when to do it, and we did it long before the deadline was July 15th. We got it done. But there's the money. There went the money back to the recovery center that was supposed to pay admin fees. So now, here we are. A lot of what happens from here on out, we can make recommendations. Ultimately, if public trust has been compromised so bad, then the public will have to steer what happens to a great deal from here on out. Like I said, I'm one guy. I'm speaking for myself. When I screw up, I admit it. And this is where we're sitting today because of it.
I don't think the public can steer us. It's going to have to be what the lawyers and accountants do. We have to do what they tell us to do.
Correct. But that comes from public pressure.
But we still have to follow the law there.
Yeah, law has to be followed. So now the conversation is, what are we going to require? I feel that, like I said, as much as Ashley's done for us, I get it. She's done a great job for us. But we opened a door that allowed overpayment. It should have just stayed with a third party had we been with it.
Yeah.
But we weren't. We didn't get a contract with her. We never discussed how much it was going to cost. Never talked about potential of how much time it was going to take. Again, mistake, 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 mistake. We can't fix this with more mistakes. We got to do it right. And the only way I can see it to be done right is the money's got to be returned, and the chips are going to fall where they may. And it sounds harsh, it sounds tough, but that's the way it is. That's how I see it. I can't sugarcoat it. It is what it is. I'm not good at playing games.
I'm sure it opened Pandora's box when I did an interview yesterday, but I don't. I always take phone calls. So when the lady called me from KSN News and wanted to talk to me, I said, let's talk. I've always done that with everybody. If they want to talk, let's talk.
And to be clear on the phone call business, I'm getting about 12 to 15 spam calls a day, so I've got a spam blocker on, so that's probably where that call went. I found it odd that I wasn't contacted.
Well, so her number's out of Florida, and I didn't answer it right away, but I got a voicemail, and I went back and listened, and instead of a spam call, she said who she was, so I did call her back.
Well, all the news media in the world isn't going to help solve our problem. We
No.
got to solve our freaking problem right here in Sherman County, in this room, like it or not. So that's where I'm at. As I said, there are other opinions that need to be brought into this. Brett has reached out to the AG's office. I think that's information that we need to have before we make absolute firm decisions. We've already made decisions half-cocked that we shouldn't have. So I don't want to make any more. But I felt the audit, getting that ball rolling was important at this stage of the game. And we're going in that direction. So with that, that's basically all I've got to say. I'm open to letting the public speak now, unless we've got something else to say.
Just so you know, we started recording meetings, so if you do speak, you have to either come here to speak on the microphone so it is recorded.
Please state your name.
And yeah, please state your name.
Sandra Dumler. First of all, I want to thank you all for your comments. It's nice to know where you stand. However, it sparks more questions. First of all, Commissioner Enfield, I'd kind of like to know, so in what you said, you're saying these wages should have been paid because somebody earned them, but yet the fund doesn't. We're talking about the fund. The fact of what you should have handled on other pay scales has nothing to do with the administration of this fund. And I'm a little confused with your thinking on that. So at some point, or if you'd like to now, I'd kind of like to know what you have to say about that.
So we contracted with a lady for $150
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what the clerk was paid to administer the fund. You started the whole conversation saying she was underpaid for this, this, and this. The Spark Fund had nothing to do with any of those other things she did. She should have been paid only for the amount of time she spent on the Spark Fund. That was comparable, okay? The other question I have for you on that is, when you hire a firm that has the expertise in something, they do carry the liability, and their rate is higher. So I'm curious at what constitutes the expertise to continue to pay someone at that rate.
I don't have an answer for you on that.
Okay, I'll go on. The other thing that's concerning me is the fact that our clerk, who administers our payroll for the entire county, is not familiar with labor laws. Upon paying out of the fund for labor, that constitutes overtime for an hourly employee. So was the 150 normal rate? Should there have been overtime on 150? Is it the normal pay that she gets per hour that should have overtime? I'm confused. And I believe it's a concern that our administrator doesn't understand labor laws. Do you understand labor laws?
I think where the problem came up is when the auditor looked at this, and I asked, can we spend this money? He said, if she has the hours to document that.
You're not understanding the question. Do you understand labor laws?
Apparently I do not.
I'm concerned there are no labor laws being followed. If we can pay out this amount of money for, I'm not even saying it's right or wrong at this point, but the laws aren't even filed, and we're not following those. If it was something that should have been paid out, we've just created a whole nother mess. Who's going to amend payroll returns? Somebody's papers has been padded. What are we going to do for that? Have these things even been discussed or recognized?
So this goes back to the fact that we made a huge mistake. If we would have had, say, a contract with her, and she had the hours to document it, and it wouldn't have went through payroll, this would not have been an illegal procedure.
Not necessarily. When you look at the states, you look at the other numbers, but that's not for me to decide. I am just asking these questions because I don't feel like anybody's taking this seriously and are trying to get answers. The other thing is like I said, when we have somebody administering the payroll and HR for the county, do we need to think about an ouster? Is this something we need to do, a recall? Obviously, the position is held to handle these things.
Sandy, I think that's kind of part of what the Attorney General's opinion is going to be.
And that's
It
fine.
will include that.
Okay, I'm gonna go on. So the other thing that's not clear is it has been said, this gal was hired, and yet yesterday, Larry, you had said that she quit. Now, outsourcing isn't a way of quitting. A lot of companies outsource, they contract. And so I'm a little confused on that thought process as well.
Well, I guess when I visit with somebody and they say they're gonna do the job, and all of a sudden they're not doing it anymore, and somebody else is doing it, I deem that as quitting.
Okay, let's see. So once again, I understand that you're not clear. There's a mixed emotion on how much of these funds should be paid back with interest. Otherwise, you know, if funds that are used from the county, if they're not used appropriately, probably should be paid back with interest. If you look at IRS guidelines, anything like that, it's not a gift. You don't gift employees substantial amounts. I'm just really curious as to how fast this is gonna move and by when do you plan to have things in action, and by when do you have someone completely look and see if we are handling the position of administration for our entire county correctly?
Well, as soon as the lawyers and Attorney General can give us opinions, we'll move on it.
Are you guys asking by when?
We just now made the motion this morning to do it. I mean, how can we can't ask the Attorney General
Well,
when.
you were just saying that your attorney was looking into it, he was making calls. Have you put a timeline on this?
I'm not the one that was talking to the
We're
attorney.
not gonna,
No.
we know that our attorney is absent, that he is on what he calls harvest leave, and he'll be back July 5th. So until he returns, we don't know. You've worked with the government and worked with laws enough, you know that sometimes it moves very slowly and sometimes it moves very quickly. You can ask for an immediate opinion, and their timeline and our timeline are two completely different things. So, I'm not gonna make an excuse to say, we can ask for it, but if they don't want to deliver, what do we do? If we ask the Attorney General for an opinion and we want it right away and he doesn't return it, who do we go to?
So you're saying it's already to the Attorney General?
Well, as I understand it, that we are, asking the Attorney General of Kansas to issue an opinion. And I don't know if that has to be formally requested through the county attorney's office.
Brett indicated that that's what he was going to do.
Okay, and that's what I'm
But he did not
after here.
indicate.
So he has
when.
said it,
Okay.
we don't know when exactly because, he has applied for his his leave and he said if it has to go in formal writing, if it hasn't already been issued through his office, then July 5th it'll probably be issued if he has to.
Brett did say that if we need to contact him, if he's got cell service where he's at, he would be willing to visit. But like I said, he's on leave. What was it? Attorney generals usually have a scary amount of time they can respond in. It's like 90 days. And if you hound them, they'll take the 90 days. We had this happen once. Well, we didn't, the city did. But anyway,
Well, that's all I have. I appreciate your time, and I look forward to you guys moving.
my
as speedily
opinion
as
is to
you
get it
can through
resolved
this.
quick.
Mhm.
I'm tired of not sleeping at night, worried about what ifs.
Thank you.
And for everyone, I do not answer texts. These fat fingers and little keyboards, you'll get bad words that I didn't think I put in there. You know, if you call me, I will answer my phone unless it's a Florida number or something that doesn't. If it's a local number, and I'm even getting spam calls on local number, my car warranty has been out for the last 15 years as far as phone calls say. So,
Anybody else? Okay. Rest assured. Oop, that's right. I'll get better at this. I'm taking this damn serious, okay? This isn't a joke to me. I've lived here for a long, long time. I built a reputation of doing the best I could. I never claimed to be the smartest guy in the room, and I've proven that plenty of times. But no, I'm taking it serious. I think we all are. It's an uncomfortable, sloppy mess, is what it is. That's all. That's the best way I can put it. It's slop. And I apologize to the public for my slop. But that's not good enough. Got to fix it. Got to fix it.
We just didn't do our job, but we are taking it seriously. We'll fix it.
I agree with both the other commissioners in that this has not been taken lightly for a long time. We have talked about it, phone calls, we're wanting to make it right. Have we made a mistake? Yes. Are we gonna try to rectify it in the best manner we can? Yes, but it's gonna take some time. You know, if people think that, you know, we don't think about these things and see what community involvement is, then, you know, I've spent a lot of time in this community doing a lot of things. And I want to continue doing that. So, thank you for coming.
With that, make a motion to adjourn if there's nothing else.
Anyone else? Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion's passed. Meeting's adjourned.